Well, hello, sir. How are you?
Good, Taylor. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So, for you guys that may not have met Dave before, I know I always know I mispronounce your last name every time, but it's Scribani.
You did it.
Is that it?
You,
All
you,
right.
you even got the Italian accent down.
Scribani. Yeah, there you go. So we've got a great show today for you guys. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this. We're going to be talking ads with Dave. So Dave does a lot of things for us. Actually, he takes care. He's over our social media marketing, but he also does all of our ads, both Facebook and Google ads. So he's kind of in the mix of all that side of the business. And he is the expert, of which I am not. I love when people ask me questions and I go, oh, I'm going to have to go find that answer. So guess what? Guess who I call? I call Dave. So we have him right here with us. So Dave, are you ready? We're just going to jump in here.
Let's dive in. Ask me some questions.
All right. So here's the first big one. The phones aren't ringing. Should we run Google ads?
This is a question I think you probably get often. I know I do. I know a lot of our team members that are client facing, they have clients that ask these questions. And, for me, there are a few thoughts that go through my head when a business owner comes to me or one of our team members and says, hey, the phones aren't ringing. Let's turn the ads back on. And I want to take you through, I think, a little bit of a framework on my thought process and what I want your thought process to be if you're a business owner and your phones aren't ringing. One, you should always at least note, or maybe even write this down, that you should never run ads from a reactive posture. Ads are not the 911 the ads aren't the 911 call that's going to come save your business and bring you a bunch of business when the phones aren't ringing. There's something that can help in that area, but I'd never want a business owner to think that ads are there to save them and use them as a reactive, like, oh no, the phone's not ringing. Let's turn the ads on. So that's the first thing. It's also not going to move the needle fast enough to save your business if the phones aren't ringing. I think it can help bring in calls. You're going to help get some clicks going to your website, but it's not going to move the needle so fast where you're going to feel relief from the phones not ringing. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So the second thing is ads are a marathon type of investment for your business, not a sprint. In other words, they take time to build. It takes time to build and target the right audience and get clicks going to your website and conversions and phone calls. It's not one of those things where you can, again, just turn it on and all of a sudden the phones are going to start ringing. It's a long-term game, but it's also a game that you don't want to prematurely enter into until you're ready. And I want to take you through some things that help us identify if we're ready. So ultimately, if the phones aren't ringing and you're wondering if you should do ads, this is where my head goes first and where I think business owners should take this first as well. I would start by answering these three questions. One, have you clarified your message? And this is a lot of stuff that if you've taken anything through Donald Miller, Business Made Simple, it's the first thing I think we need to go back to. Your phones aren't not ringing because you're not doing ads. I think it usually goes back to, are we clear? Is your message clear for your ideal customer? And if you don't have this framework done, your marketing plan wouldn't work anyways. So that's why if the phones aren't ringing, it's kind of like taking a few steps back. They're almost questions that you would ask yourself when you start a business, right? Number two, I think let's make sure that you have defined the problem that you're going to solve, not the product, but to be a problem that people are willing to pay money to solve. So these are just questions that this is where my head goes. Is your message clear? Is that possibly why the phones aren't ringing, right? Number three, let's make sure you have defined and you've created the product or service that solves that problem. And four, let's create the marketing message that will explain to people how what you do solves this problem. Now, I know it sounds like you're starting again from the very beginning, but this is the framework I think that you should have in place before you even start a business. And if the phones aren't ringing, it's probably because you're not clear enough in those three areas. It also could be that your business is seasonal, right? There's so many things. But I think it's very seldom, oh my gosh, we need to run ads because the phones aren't ringing. So that's kind of where I start out. I always want to take people back through that journey first, and at least make sure that stuff is clear. Again, because if it's not, marketing wouldn't work to begin with. So let's make sure those things are clear first. And if they are, and if you're in a place where you can afford ads and you have the money to invest, then yes, I think it's something that you should move forward and go and do.
So let's go back a minute, because I want to unpack some of this, because I think it's really important to do this. One of the things that I find a lot of times is people have the idea that any marketing, can save them. So what marketing is getting the message out. And there's a lot of different ways that you can get a message out if the phone's not ringing. That doesn't cost you a lot of money, that may cost you time. So if you have more time than money, there's a really great book called Guerrilla Marketing. And it's an old book, but it's what we used to do before the internet. And it still works. There's stuff in there that still work, but it's going to take you some time, you or somebody some time. Okay. So the other thing I think people don't realize, and I want you to unpack for them, is they think that when you turn on ads, that you can automatically get them at the top of the page and everything is just miraculous. It's like doing an ad in a newspaper. Explain why it's not that.
Yeah, I think that is definitely a complex question. Again, when it comes to ads, whether you're running those on really any platform, whether it's Google, it could be Nextdoor ads. We run ads, I think, on Audio Go for some clients, Facebook ads. All of those have a what's called a learning phase, right? And that ad, while you have a professional that's going in and building that out, just because it's built and we hit the run button, that system has to go through a learning phase and learn the algorithm in your target market. And that just takes time. It can take a couple of months to really get out of that learning phase and have your ad begin to perform. And that's why I was saying earlier that using that as a reactive approach, when the phones aren't ringing, it's really not going to move the needle fast enough for you to where you think they're actually performing. It is a long game.
Yeah. I also think, let's take the seasonality bit. If you're in the lawn care business and you run lawn care ads and you don't have much business in December, January, February, and you want business and you run a business about lawn care and you're not in South Florida or South Texas or, Southern California somewhere, you're probably not going to get any clicks, no matter how many ads you are. I mean, that's the biggest thing that I've had is just up my budget. Guys, you could up your budget to $20,000 a day. And if nobody's clicking, your budget's going to stay where it is because nobody's looking for what you do.
Yeah.
So that's the messaging part. If you can do something else during that time frame, or if you do something else, if you're in lawn care and you also have a snow removal business, and you're in Buffalo, New York, well, now you got something to talk about when there's snow on the ground and no grass. So a lot of people don't think through that and think that everybody is looking for what they do all the time when they're really a seasonal business.
That's exactly right. And there's certain platforms that are best that you can kind of toggle between during certain seasons. If you're super busy in the summer season, whatever business you might have, Google is probably going to be your best bet. But in your slower seasons where people aren't actually looking for your service, that's where I would go. I would switch to probably something like Facebook, where you're just running your brand. It's all branded type campaigns that you can get in front of people. They might not need your service now, but the point is that you inundated them with your ads when they didn't need you, so that when they do need you, you're the first one they think of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's Terry. Guerrilla Marketing is a fantastic book. I read it 25 years ago. Terry, don't tell people that. We're telling them our age.
That's funny.
No, no. And hey, Chuck, thank you very much for the like. Guys, if you guys can give us a like or a love, that would be great, since, we're talking about those Facebook people. They kind of like that stuff. Well, let's go on then, Dave. How do I know if I'm ready to dive into the ads world? Whether it's Facebook, Google Ads, Nextdoor, how do we know?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I've seen what happens with businesses when they dive into ads prematurely. And when I say that, I mean that it seems like they were probably in a place where maybe they just didn't have the budget for it, but they wanted to try it anyways. I don't recommend doing ads if it's a stretch financially. So I would say if you have the budget for it and you have that number in your head already, then I say go ahead, like find a professional, someone that you trust, an agency that you trust, and take that step and start getting your toe wet. And it doesn't need, you don't need a lot of money. A lot of people hear ads and they're like, oh, that must be tens of thousands of dollars. And it's not. I mean, you could start with a small budget, $200 a month. And as long as you're working with an agency and a professional that you trust, that, they're going to let you know what's an appropriate budget for you. But if you have the capital to do it, I highly recommend it.
Yeah. And I think what people don't realize is, so let's talk about budget, because yes, if you have $200 for ads, but we charge way more than that to manage them.
Yep.
So talk a little bit about why, because I get that too, is, guys, why is it so expensive?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. It's a skill set. It's the same reason why for whatever service you offer, you have customers that are paying you X amount of dollars for your service because you're the professional in that space. You've spent the hours upon hours and the blood, sweat, and tears learning that skill, to where someone may not want to go, like, I don't want to go on my roof and put on a new roof when it needs it. I'm going to call someone that does it all the time that can get it done in 2 days. It would take me a month. So it's the same kind of concept even for us. And when we're running ads, not only did we spend a significant amount of money in training and learning that stuff, that world, we're in your ads every single day, where we're going in and we're checking it and checking all the metrics and making sure that you're actually getting results. It's not a one step. We set up your ads and we leave it and cross our fingers and collect our retainer. We're in your ads on a daily basis, checking those metrics and making tweaks and making adjustments. Ads never, one ad campaign doesn't just stay running forever. Eventually they get what's kind of like what we call fatigue, where it reached the max amount of people it's probably going to reach. And now we got to go in and get new creative and new designs and new graphics to go with it. So it's an ongoing process that doesn't really stop.
Okay, that's great. You put that a lot better than I do. That's awesome. So I want to run ads in my business. I want to run ads, but my business is not doing well. What should I do?
Yeah. So one of the things that I really push business owners to is a coach. Taylor, I know you're big in coaching. You're passionate coaching other people. I know you receive coaching because everybody needs a coach. So I would first point people to invest in a coach, because you need someone that can see your blind spots. And we all have blind spots. It doesn't matter how smart we think we are. We all have them. And a lot of times those blind spots are what's halting your business from growing. And you can run ads, but ads aren't going to combat blind spots, right? So I say start there. If your business is struggling, find a coach, someone that you trust. And when you come out of that, you pull yourself out of that rut, then I say go ahead and start ads.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this too. Again, I'm going to say this because I get so many calls of people kind of on their last leg, and they absolutely think that they can spend X amount of dollars in marketing ads. Doesn't matter what it is, yard signs, guerrilla marketing, this, that, and so over. And I look at their profile, I look at their website, I look at their reviews, and I can tell right off the bat, it doesn't matter what they do, they're not going to improve their business because they're not improving themselves. Because it starts with us every single time.
It does.
Absolutely does. So here's one. Do you recommend display ads or search ads?
Oh, that's a great question. And it always comes down to what you want your end game or end result to be, right? So a display campaign, and I'm going to make this really easy, Terry.
So before you answer this question, can you explain what a display ad and a search ad is, so that we may have people here that don't know?
Yeah. So a display ad is going to be something on Google. Say you're searching for a business, and there's going to either be like usually like a graphic or a photo to go along with it. There's really two ways to break it up. Display campaign ads are high impressions, high clicks. That's what you're going to get with a display ad. A branded search ad is going to be high conversions. So display ads, high impressions, high clicks. Branded ads, high conversions. Impressions and clicks. Impressions are just attention, right? It's the number of people or the number of times that your ad actually showed up and someone saw your ad. And then obviously high clicks, that's self-explanatory. It's the number of times that people clicked on your ad or engaged with it. For the branded side, so a search ad, for example, is going to be high conversions. That's someone who saw your ad. They were searching for something. Maybe they typed in a keyword. They clicked on your ad. They went to your website, and they had to have submitted a form that you have on your website to be contacted by you. That's counted as a conversion.
Okay. So do you recommend display ads now or search ads?
That's true. I guess that was really what our question was.
Yeah.
Again, it always comes back to what you're looking for. I recommend both at all times. So don't just run branded. Branded's great. You want people to be aware of your business, but a display campaign, that's going to be great if you have some sort of special that's going on, an offer for new customers or new clients. You should always have something out there that's going to attract someone new, an offer that is just unrefusable.
Yeah.
I recommend running both.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. The other thing so the way that I put it is a search ad is somebody looking for something specific.
Yep.
A display ad is somebody sees it when they're actually somewhere else and they go, oh, I wonder what that is.
Yes, that is also a great easy way to describe what those are.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I have to get everything kind of dummied down for me.
That's all right. We'll break it down as little as we need to.
Really, I need the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid, because that's the way I understand the world. So what are some great things that Google Ads can do for my business? And I'm going to throw you a little bit because I know we were talking about Google Ads, but I want you to also talk about what are some great things that Facebook ads can do for your business.
Yeah. We'll go through a couple of things. So one, when they're done right, they help keep your business and the problem that you solve top of mind. And we want your business to have a digital omnipresent effect. And that's something that ads offers. Two, it does bring in leads. So if you're running lead generation ads, whether it's in Facebook or Google, that's something that you can get. You can get leads. But it's important to note that a lead that comes from an ad does not mean that they're ready to buy from you. It's up to you to take that lead through the buyer's journey, if you will, and nurture that lead. So be prepared to hire someone in your business who is good at sales and is good at closing deals, because a lead from an ad does not mean that that person is automatically ready to buy from you. They're just letting you know, I'm interested. That's always something that I like to break down for business owners, because a lot of times there's this misconception that, oh, I want leads. But a lead does not mean that they're automatically ready to buy. Sometimes it's about nurturing a relationship and nurturing that person and finding out what they need. And can you solve the problem for them? So number three, they drive traffic to your website that you wouldn't otherwise have, which is great. That was what I was talking about earlier between those two different types of campaigns and driving clicks to your website. So in the realm of Facebook, it's very similar. What sets Facebook apart from Google and Google apart from Facebook is Facebook ads are great for that omnipresent effect. You don't really have people, if you're in the chimney industry or the plumbing industry or septic tanks and those types of service industries, you don't really have a lot of people going to Facebook when their septic tank backs up. They're going to go to Google and they're going to search septic tank company near me, right? So it's all about really, it's knowing your industry. Again, it points back to finding an agency and a marketer that you trust, because they're going to walk you through that, which one's best for you. They're both good. They're just different. I think Facebook's really good for branded and just having that omnipresent effect where you're targeting audiences that may not need your service this very moment, but when they do need you, they saw enough of your content to remember, like, oh, I'm going to call these guys.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm going to point out is I used to be in financial services as well as in mortgages, and we would get leads all the time. And I would have people around me that I would tell them, hey, if you have somebody that's not ready to buy yet, that you don't really want to talk to, hand them over to me.
Yep.
I got a lot of business that way.
Yep.
It wasn't automatic business, but those leads, once you nurture them and talk to them and find out, a homeowner is saying, well, I'm not ready to buy yet. We're just kind of seeing, I don't know what I am. I said, well, you ever gotten pre-qualified? No, I've not. He said, well, that's the first step.
Yep.
But when you're ready, let's do a pre-qualification. Let's find out how much house you can buy. And they're like, oh, you can do that? I'm like, absolutely.
Yep.
And then get them pre-qualified and find out, oh, in the pre-qualification, hey, I'm sorry, you've got some credit issues. So we need to deal with helping you get these credit issues cleaned up. And I worked with somebody that helped people do that. So I would send them over there. So I'm helping them doing all these different things. And then a year and a half later, they're ready to buy. And guess who they called to do their mortgage? Well, it was me.
Yep.
So that's really what people don't understand about leads. Is marketing is just not about doing business today. It's doing business sometimes today, but a lot of times it's doing business in the future.
Yep.
So you have to figure out what that is. And that's really, really important. Yep. A marketer, what we do is we bring people to you that are interested in what you do. That's what we do. And we hopefully can pre-sell them a little bit that you're the right company to get the information from. That's really what marketing companies do.
Yeah. We send to the people, but it's the business owner's job to cultivate the relationship.
Right. And to sell it. I mean, that really is the job of the business owner or somebody else that's there. So, we really got to start, looking at marketing for what marketing really is and start paying attention as business owners of what our responsibilities are and how we can best cultivate that in our businesses in order to be successful.
That's exactly right.
And when we're a business that doesn't work year round, that we're seasonal, we also need to have something in place to where we've got the money there to be able to carry our company through those times when we know it's going to be a little slim.
Yep.
And the pandemic, especially in the home service industries, has made that a little wonky because now we've forgotten that, we might be a seasonal business because everybody was home wanting to get everything fixed.
Yep.
So, so hopefully that helps clarify that and how ads actually lend itself to your business and a good, I love the framework that you came out with in the very beginning, Dave. That was awesome.
Hey, thanks. I think that's what can be really, really helpful when things are slow. And that's really, I think for a lot of business owners, even if you're well established, Spark's been around for quite a long time, but even if you're really well established, it's always healthy to go back to that framework because things in your business change, what you sell changes, how you serve your customers change. That framework you should always be very, very clear with all the time. And if things in your business change, you should always go back and re-clarify your message again. The clearer your message is, the faster people will buy from you. People want to buy things that they can easily understand.
No, I think that's really good. And the only other thing that I'm going to add to that is if you're not getting business and people around you are, check your reviews. There's a ton of information that if you will look at your reviews, and instead of getting mad when people leave bad reviews, start looking at them holistically and find if there's something in those reviews that's a pattern, that's something that's kind of lends itself to change, and if you can make those changes.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
So Terry said, I've heard that Google Analytics is going away. Is that true? Nope, that's not true. They're going to what's called G4, which is just a big, high-powered analytics.
Yep. Just going to get more complex.
Yep, it's going to get more complex. We've already got all of our everybody that's with us is already on it. We have 2 accounts. We have the old account, the G4 account. So
yep.
We're running both right now just to see. But my understanding is it goes away in July. But
yep.
But it's not going away. It's just being replaced by something else.
Yep.
So hopefully that makes sense.
Terry's got all the good questions.
I know she does. And I know we have some other great people on here. Anybody else got any other questions? Oh, there you go. Here we go. More info. So if you need that info, get on there and copy that link. I think that's Tom doing that for us today. So Tom, thank you for that. That's awesome. That'll give you some good information on analytics. Well, we're getting toward the end. Dave, it's always fun to have you here. And if you guys are wondering where Carter is, he had a family emergency, had a death in the family. So he went to the funeral in Texas, and he'll be back next week. We will have, what are we doing next week? I need to go see what we're doing. Oh, I guess I need to say this first. Spark Live is also released as a podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Podvine, and your favorite player. And then next week, Carter will be back. We're going to be doing a Q&A. I've already got some great questions that have come in. It's a lot of fun. The other thing I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be doing another webinar, how to grow a small business, on February 17th at 3 p.m. I'll have all the information next week as well. It will not be on the same platform as the last time. That I guarantee you. So I'm getting all that set up. We had fun for those that were there. I appreciate anybody that was there that actually waded through that whole thing. Thank you, Brandy. I really appreciate that. I'll let him know that. But he next week we'll have Carter back. It'll all be fun, and we'll go from there. So that's it, guys. We will see you next week. Hope it's wonderful. I hope you're not snowed in or iced in wherever you are, and that it's going to get warm again eventually. I promise. I think those in the Northeast are ready for it to snow in New York. They're ready. Pennsylvania and New York needs a little snow. So, all right, guys, thanks so much. We'll see you later. Thanks again, Dave.
Hey, thank you, Taylor.